Today we're talking about some difficult, not so pleasant topics, and that is what happens to our business after we die. Our business is our dream, but is it theirs? Specifically referring to our children or our family members who may have to take charge or take the reins of a business that we build after we die. What happens? How do they know what they have to do? Are we leaving our affairs for our business organized the way we would with a last will and testament? That's what we're going to cover today. Hi everyone, welcome to the LFW Network. This is Lorraine Galvis, and I'm so glad that you could join me for today's video where we are discussing our business is our dream, but is it theirs? Now, if you've been following my channel, one quick housekeeping item I would really appreciate all of you helping me with. Please like this video, please subscribe to our channel, and also we love hearing from you. So I would love your comments down below. Let me know if these videos are helpful, if I'm talking about things and topics that are helpful for you and your business and planning for your family. And I love hearing from you. So definitely leave your comments below. Like this video and subscribe. Let's dive into today's topic. An operating agreement is not only the document that tells you and tells everyone else how your business is built to be run, what happens to it, how it's sold, how it can be acquired, how it can be dissolved. It's also a legacy document. This document is going to let those know after you pass away what happens to your business or what should happen to it. And in the absence of a document like an operating agreement, the person making these decisions, these difficult decisions, is probably the state that you live in, most likely the state that you live in. So I'm licensed in New York and Connecticut. I have businesses in both states. The fate of my business will be decided by the state of New York or Connecticut if I don't take the time and the care to carefully draft an operating agreement or to have an attorney do that for me. One of the big overarching themes of this issue and of this video series is that our business is our dream. It was my dream to own a business someday. I didn't know it would be a law firm, but it is a law firm. Another dream I had was to own property and be a real estate investor, and I do that as well. And so I have these two companies that I own and operate with my husband, aside from my law firm, which I operate independently. But if I'm honest, and for all the parents out there, let's be honest, I don't think that owning a law firm or being a real estate investor is necessarily what I'm seeing as my child's dream. And he wants to be a baseball player. He wants to be a basketball player. He wants to do other things, and obviously this will change over time. But when I'm at the house, at my property, mowing the lawn, my son isn't necessarily jumping at the opportunity to help. And even though I try to teach him how to do things, how to use a screwdriver, how to repair, something that's broken, or just to get him into the gardening, playing out in the dirt, helping me clean up, doing yard work, even in the fall, it's not something that he's really thrilled about. So I really have to think seriously as to whether my real estate investment company and my law firm, which has its own kind of restrictions in terms of succession, what's going to happen to these businesses after I die. So how do we deal with that? Let's just talk a little bit about context. Why would we need to think about something like this? Why do we have to think about all these sad events when we're running a business? I can only tell you from personal experience that after unexpectedly losing my dad last year, as painful as that was, he was the first time I lost a parent, and I was not able to grieve my father properly because he died without a will. And there's nothing that I wouldn't do for my father, and I think having a legal background and being a lawyer put me in a position where I could help my family during this difficult time. But this time was also difficult for me too. I lost my dad. And so in a time where maybe I just wanted to feel everything that you obviously see me feeling now, I had to kind of suit up and think about what I needed to do in a short amount of time. My dad lived in Florida and I live, in Connecticut and New York, or I'm based mostly in the Northeast. And so my time in Florida with my family was very limited, and there was a lot of court-related paperwork and procedure that had to happen in order to get my dad's estate settled. So having gone through that experience, I immediately realized that this is not something that I ever want my son to have to deal with. And so what can I do, or how can I prevent my son from being burdened by not just my loss or the loss of his father, but with also having to figure out what to do with a business or two businesses that he may not want to have any responsibility or anything to do with in the first place. So I think the first step is to kind of have those difficult conversations with our business partners, with our spouses, if we own businesses with them, and just from a family perspective, having that honest conversation with our family about our businesses. And if they're of age, maybe there's an interest in being successors of that business, maybe not. And if there isn't, what's our contingency plan? Do we sell the business? Is something triggered where when we die, that is an option for our relatives? The only way to figure that out is to write it down. And the way that we write it down for our business is by using an operating agreement. For those of you who have S Corps or a corporation with S Corp treatment, I know that is very common. Some of you have LLCs that are getting S Corp treatment. You may have other documents that you may have to look at. Could be your bylaws, could be your charter, could be your shareholders agreement. But for the most part, we're going to focus on LLCs because that's what I have. And this applies to a professional LLC as well. If you have a PLLC in your state or if they exist in your jurisdiction, how are we going to plan ahead and create a roadmap for our partners or our relatives and family members for our business after we die? So the operating agreement is going to be critical in helping us figure this out and get this sorted. Now, some of you may have questions about your last will and testament, powers of attorney, and so forth. Those documents can reference your business, but truly the business itself, you have to think of your business, your LLC, your PLLC, as a separate entity. So I'm physically here, this is one of my companies, this is another company. They are each separate legal entities for the purposes of the law and for the purposes of the jurisdiction in where you live, right? Your state. So for me, again, if I have a business in Connecticut or I have a business in New York, that state is going to be the entity that determines what happens to my business after I die, unless I take the time to carefully craft an operating agreement. One of my really close colleagues and one of my partners says all the time that death is the great equalizer, right? Death is the great equalizer. And so it is definite that it's all going to happen to us, right? We are all going to die at some point, but once we have a family and partners and people that we care about, we think ahead and we think about how we can protect them, how we can give them this gift of organizing our affairs before the inevitable comes, right? And that will come. So I want to take a moment to just thank you for joining me for this video. Again, I'd love to hear feedback from you in the comments. If you are a parent, a small business owner, if you are a couple, if you are a set of members or business owners, and you want to figure out what is the first step in planning for your business after you pass on, after your partners pass on, and how you can minimize some of this burden to your family members once you have passed on, please let me know. Feel free to reach out to us at any time. Please comment below. You can visit our website at galvisandcompany.com, and I would be more than happy to speak with you, speak with your partners, and see if we can get the ball rolling. Summer is a great time for checking this off your list, so I hope you will use this as an opportunity to do just that. This is Lorraine Galvis. Thank you for joining me here at the LFW Network. More to come. Have a blessed day.